To the September Accounts Receivable Core Committee. My name is Gerald Floyd, and I am the DAS Swarm Coordinator. As I said, I am recording the meeting, so we will have this posted along with the minutes to our website, typically within a few days. So it kind of depends on the folks that do the conversion to the YouTube and things like that, but we will get that posted as soon as we can. And we'll get started on our agenda for today. Swarm announcements. Just a reminder for everyone that has not yet submitted their data for year-end reporting. The LFO reporting deadline is October 1, and all other reports that your agency may be subject to, the ARPMs, the certification, etc. Those are all due by October 2nd. So if you have any questions as you're working on that, if you're still preparing your information, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm here as a resource to answer any questions you may have. And with that, I want to thank everyone that was able to submit their information by last Friday, which was our target date. That has been very helpful in being able to get responses back to everyone as I have done my initial reviews. So thank you to everyone that met that date. For the rest of you, the drop dead date is October 1, but please remember, the sooner you get me the information, the sooner I can do a review. And if there are any questions or corrections necessary, you've got time to get those completed by the statutory deadline. So with that, I'll pause for a second. And does anybody have any questions about the year-end reporting deadlines? Hearing none. I will also provide a reminder that the Q1 FY24 ARPM reports, for those that are subject to those are due October 31st. If you look at the honor roll timeline on our website, that is actually still for FY23, but the end of the month following the quarter end is in the OAM policies, so that date won't change. I will get the FY24 honor roll deadlines posted shortly. So just wanted to remind everyone that that is the next thing that would be coming up as a deadline, is the October 31st ARPM deadline for Q1. Next on our agenda, wanted to remind everyone regarding assignments to DOR. You should be doing those on a regular basis to be compliant with the 90-day requirements in statute for those that are subject to ORS 293. But in addition, if you have any accounts that maybe have previously been returned for some reason other than potentially a deceased debtor, if your agency is not subject to centralization, you can reassign the account to the restricted program for it to be included in the offset only program. And so wanted to make sure that everyone was taking advantage of that, with the understanding that the calendar year 2023 or 2024 tax season, I should say, is going to include the largest ever kicker. I just kind of did a quick comparison, and based on the Office of Economic Analysis, this kicker will be almost 3 times as much as it was in 2022. So definitely an opportunity to get some collections that you might not otherwise have access to if you are getting those accounts to DOR before that tax filing occurs. and the kicker season starts. So just wanted to remind everybody of that. If you are an agency that is subject to centralization, keep in mind that if your account is in RWO status, and even if your agency has written it off, you do not need to do anything for the kicker offset to occur. The account is still at DOR. It will match in that kicker offset, so long as it is still part of the inventory reports that you receive from DOR, even in the RWO status. RWO just simply means that they are no longer making phone calls or sending letters unless they get new information that gives them cause to think that there might be a source of payment. That might be the new hire report from the employment department, something like that, that would indicate they might now have the means to pay that debt. And so just wanted to make sure that there was no confusion, that if it is in RWO, you do not need to do anything to take advantage of the kicker. So just some clarification there. Is there any questions about the kicker, the restricted program, et cetera, that anyone may have as we get ready for the 2024 tax filing? Carla.
Yeah, on that RWO status, will DOR at some point remove those, or will from the inventory list, or will they would we expect that they would remain on that list as an RWO for a long period of time?
Good question. The RWO status should stay, and the intent within centralization was the RWO is the notification of the agency to perform the accounting entry so long as the account meets the OAM criteria for write-off. But by leaving it in RWO status at DOR, it allows DOR at any point in the future, it could be 7 years from now, that they get that, like I said, a employment notification that would allow them to reactivate that account and send those letters, send a garnishment, for example, all of those things, because it's still there. If we were under the old model, the account would be canceled. They wouldn't be able to take advantage of any future information. The agency would have to send it to the restricted program, which would only do the offsets. And so we lose that ability for what we have now, which is for DOR to keep that in the inventory in that RWO status so that they're not taking up their staff resources on accounts that they've already gone through the life cycle. So I would suspect that it will be a while before we might see some programming changes where they might be able to segment or separate the inventory report of what's in active versus RWO, but it definitely is something that we want to keep at DOR. Hopefully that would explained it and didn't cause any more confusion.
No, that's helpful. Thank you.
Any other questions on DOR assignments, the kicker process, things like that? Okay. Well, I was expected that 20 minutes may have been a generous time allotment for that conversation, but we'll move right along if there are no other questions. Next on the agenda, the Department of Agriculture is doing some research into systems. They want to consolidate some multiple programs, and they're asking for information that any agencies may have regarding any purchased invoicing software. So if this is something that you have done in recent years, please feel free to share here or send me an email or Kim Courtwright at Agriculture. And Kim, do you have anything else you want to add? Not hearing anything. Does anybody have any particular software that they're familiar with that their agency might have purchased or was interested in purchasing? Seeing anybody come off mute? Well, again, if this is something that you might have some information on, please share it with either myself or Kim Courtwright at Agriculture. I'm sure they would really appreciate any information that agencies may have, as it would help them kind of evaluate where they need to move forward in their system consolidation. So with that, we'll move on to our last item, which is roundtable. Does anybody have any general topics, questions, concerns? General comments for the group? Feel free to raise a hand, unmute. Okay, well, seeing none, our next meeting will be on November 21st, which would be after the completion of the Q1 ARPM reporting. And hopefully at that time, I'll be able to share with you the results of the ARPM peer group survey. So thank you for everyone that participated on that. It will definitely be helpful as we kind of look at where can we glean information from agencies that are doing well and help agencies that might be struggling within the same group. And just as a disclaimer, you know, as we go through that process, if some of the answers that were provided kind of put you in a group that doesn't really make sense, then we'll be able to kind of work with you on, you know, revising that. We want to make sure that we get everyone slotted in the right group so that we're not comparing apples and oranges, but rather apples to apples, and that we are getting useful information from that. So again, thank you for everyone responding, and I hope to have kind of at least a summary for everyone to share at that November meeting. So with that, unless anybody has any last minute items they'd like to share, we will be adjourned until November 21st. And I think this might be our record time for an ARC meeting, shortest meeting ever. So with that, thank you everyone, and we'll see everyone in November.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you.